What's going on, you guys? My name is Russell, and you're watching The Bible Man. If you're new to this channel or like the content I make here, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on all notifications for any future updates here on this channel. And if you feel like supporting me in any way, shape, or form, you're welcome to go ahead and do so. Links for that are in the description box below. As always, I made some changes back in January to my Patreon account. So, for a price of a coffee, for a price of the back in the day 2007 Subway sub, the $5 footlong, for the price of an item at Five Below, you can be a monthly Patreon supporter in the link in the description box below over on Patreon. Now, one more issue before we get into the video is there is a watermark on my video. I am working on solutions, researching how to fix it, but most of them require me to upgrade my software, which is $100, which I do not have because I'm unemployed and I don't have the budget. Second is I don't feel like downgrading the quality of my video from 4K to 1080p, so it's not worth it to me. So if you're willing to put up with this, the watermark, even though it is transparent, thank you. And let's jump into the video. So, what's today's video about? And this is going to be a good video. And it's a video that it's really close to my heart. But before I give you any hints on what we're going to be talking about, let me explain the reputation Hollywood has had for the past couple of years. They ruined Star Wars with Kathleen Kennedy. They are trying to ruin Harry Potter with HBO by making Harry Potter sound racist because they're making Professor Snape black. They ruined Snow White. They ruined The Little Mermaid. They ruined The Equalizer. And when I mean they ruined The Equalizer, I mean they ruined The Equalizer by making The Equalizer female. They ruined Doctor Who by making him a gay black man. It's like with every movie and TV show that seems to be popular, they make a remake and then slap gay, lame, push on audience, and double down. Repeat that, push back, alienate the audience, and so on and so on and so on. So what's the problem this time? Well, today we're going to be calling it the Snow White effect. The Snow White effect is what happens when Hollywood alienates 95% of their entire audience in favor of pushing woke agenda onto the audience by putting stuff in the show, TV show, movie, or series that has nothing to do with the series or movie it was originally based on, but making the entire thing about socialism, wokeism, the LGBT, racism, and anti-capitalism and racism. Now their target is C.S. Lewis's beloved book series, his favorite creation, The Chronicles of Narnia. This time they're trying to make Aslan a female. Thus, why I say the Snow White effect. Like, these people not learn from freaking Snow White? No, I'm being serious. Like, I am a hardcore anime fan. I am legit a hardcore anime fan. Right now, I'm watching ReZero. You can't see it because of my backdrop. I want things to look more professional. But I am a hardcore anime fan. Not ReZero. ReZero was last week's show. I finished and watched all 4 seasons. 3 seasons. But I basically am on Fate Ultimate Blade Works. Last week, 3 days ago, I was on Fate Stay Night or Fate Zero. Fate Zero. There's so many of them, like it's confusing. But as a hardcore anime fan, like most people, I grew up with Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, later on, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Heroes, Dragon Ball Daima, Dragon Ball Budokai, Budokai 2, Budokai 3, Xenoverse, and every other Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Heroes game that was out there. I grew up. That was my grind. So when I see a movie rated worse than Dragon Ball Evolution, Hollywood screwed up. Especially when you realize that this movie came from Disney, they screwed up. And they didn't screw up by making the movie a small budget movie. No, this was a big budget movie. The biggest budget, and they lost millions of dollars. Why? Because people don't go to the movies to hear about politics. They go to the movies to escape politics, to escape the reality of today's world and problems, to escape issues that they're dealing with, that they're already dealing with in their life. A movie, a TV show, music, anime, cartoons, series, these are all ways to escape our day-to-day problems and issues we're facing on a day-to-day basis. So when we watch these things, we're really looking for a way to escape. Snow White, it failed because they did not understand that. Plus, Rachel Zegler alienated 95% of her audience by saying the male character who was Snow White's love interest was a stalker and it was weird and romance is outdated and so 1930s. And then she had the bold audacity to alienate 95% of the country, since 95% of the country voted for Trump, by saying Trump supporters don't ever deserve rest. Are the people making this new Chronicles of Narnia movie, did they actually learn anything from the Snow White? Probably not. And this is going to be the downfall of movies as we know it. Funny thing, last night I took a break from watching anime and I watched a very old movie. Came out in 1997. Okay, not that old, but it was called The Volcano. The old man from Men in Black, that was Will Smith's partner. I forget his name. He used to be my favorite actor, and I could have gave you the name on the spot. But these days, no. My memory is not what it was 10 years ago. That movie was a really good movie. Then I said to myself, are all old school movies like this? So I recently watched 2 more movies that were made in the early 90s, and I realized a lot of the older movies are really good. Better than most movies that are out today. The issue we are facing with this new Chronicles of Narnia remake that they're adapting from the C.S. Lewis books is the fact that they're taking a beloved character like Aslan, which is supposed to be a symbolic interpretation of Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. He was in the beginning of creation, he was at the end of creation. And it's shown that in the books as well, if you actually read all the books. And they're making the main character, replacing the voice actor from a man to a female. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to the movies. I'm not going on Netflix. I'm not going to HBO to watch Chronicles of Narnia only to hear one of my favorite characters in the entire books, Aslan, be voiceovered by a female. And this isn't even about us. Isn't even about women being hated by men or pushing hate towards women. No, it's not even about that. It's just common sense. A lion with mane around his neck is a man. Jesus Christ is a man. Aslan is supposed to embody the image of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was a Jewish man from Jerusalem. God is commonly referred to him, he pronouns. Aslan is commonly referred to by him, he pronouns. There is no this queen, God is a girl, God is a queen. No, none of that exists. That's all made up by New Age religion and nonsense posted by this occult worship to lead people astray and lead them straight to hell. I'm sorry. I call it what it is on here. And the truth hurts. And the reasons the truth hurts so many people's feelings, because the truth is like a double-edged sword. It cuts deep, but it helps you learn to grow and mature if you let it. Because most people, they hear the truth and they walk away from the truth. I'm just here to say that I'm extremely disappointed with Hollywood in making one of our most beloved series, our most beloved books, taking one of the most recognized characters from that movie and making the voiceover a female. You don't even have to be a Christian. Let's use actual Animal Kingdom logic. Let's say you work at the zoo, right? How many genders are there in lions? If you work at the zoo, you're an atheist, you don't believe in God. How many genders are there in lions? 2. Right? Now, would you assume that the lion who's the biggest, the lion that has the most mane around his head, and the lion that has the biggest cock is a female? No, you wouldn't. Because you're not a moron. Now, imagine people get crying and getting upset, saying people who are upset that we are upset that Aslan is being voiceovered by a female are people who hate women. Imagine those people, because they're probably the same people who think that same lion I just described is a female lion. And this is probably the same group of people, if you ask them what is a woman, and they couldn't tell you. They'll probably come up with some nonsense like this. Somebody who identifies as a woman, by that logic, Mike Tyson can throw on a wig and a dress and step into the women's division of boxing because he, by that definition, would be a woman. Would that be good? No. Because Mike Tyson would kill the girl with a single punch by fracturing her skull. How do we know this? Because it happened in the UFC in 2018, where a transgender fractured a biological born female and killed her in the ring with a single punch. Now, here's a question. By me pointing this out, does this mean I hate women? No. But people on the left will view it that way because they are butthurt and they're crybabies. By me pointing this out, I'm actually protecting women. And I have a very bold prediction. In the next 10, 25 years, the idea of men will still exist, but there will be no such thing as a biological woman because we allow stuff like this. something I've been noticing as time goes on is womanhood is under attack. They get OnlyFans pushed on them. They get uh, the idea that they should put their career, their school, their work, all of that first and wait until they're like 30, 40 years old to find a relationship, have kids, and settle down, only to realize it's too late. You should have done that when you're in your 20s. And now nobody is willing to take a risk because men have been harassed, been told, and we've been harassed by women, told by women we don't need men, and alienated by women for the past 10, 15 years. And sadly, because of that, the red pill community was formed. So a lot of men aren't willing to put up with that because they see baggage or damaged goods, and it's not worth it to them. Womanhood is actually under attack. Not just our culture, not just our beliefs, not just our morals, but the entire identity of the church as a whole as well. Because once that disappears, everything disappears. Because man is supposed to be the lead and the responsible person, a responsible steward, a responsible leader, a responsible person everybody they can look to and rely on and come to and feel safe around. That's slowly dissipating in our world today. And so as a result, our culture is slowly chipping away at what our founding fathers originally had this country set up for. Out of 55 members who signed the Constitution of the United States of America, 33 were active members of their church. Our country was founded on Christianity, regardless of what any leftist, liberal, or Democrat may say or think. And we're seeing things that we grew up with constantly ridiculed, politicized, and hated on because they're trying to push this New World agenda onto the rest of the world. And I just don't think that's right. But the upside to it, people are finally waking up. And thus, we got the Snow White effect. The Snow White effect is when people actually wake up and be like, no, wait a second. I'm not just going to let you trash talk me and trash talk the rest of my country, and then you expect me to go watch your stuff. No, that's not how it works. Oh, man. I feel like people who act and perform in Hollywood, they live in a bubble. They don't... People who... excuse me. People who are on CNN, NSBCD, or NBC, I can't pronounce it, sorry, Fox, or any of the news anchors, any of them, they live in a bubble, and they don't actually know how people feel or think, and they think themselves superior over to the rest of us, and they don't even consider us human. They consider us dollar signs because when they see us, they see money. But what they don't understand is, if they keep pushing their woke nonsense, that money is going to keep going down, down, down into the garbage. Don't believe me? Disney ruined Star Wars. Disney ruined a lot of things, actually. Disney ruined Toy Story. Disney ruined Buzz Lightyear. Disney ruined Snow White. Disney ruined The Little Mermaid. HBO is about to ruin Harry Potter by making Professor Snape black. And by doing so, everybody who hasn't even seen the original movies are going to see Harry Potter as a racist. No, that's how I see it playing out. What else? What else they're trying to? Now they're trying to ruin one of C.S. Lewis's beloved series and something most Americans love, The Chronicles of Narnia. You know, there's a saying in the book of the in the Bible, right, where the world will eventually replace what is good with bad and what is bad with good, and say what's good is bad and what's bad is good, and people will live by their own fleshly desires and live with a carnal heart, turning it away from the Lord and away from the things He loves and desires for their lives. That is a perfect image of our country today. Another verse I would like to point out is, a country divided will not stand. And our founding fathers knew this, so you'll see this a lot in their art, their statues, their documents, the things they left behind. And sadly, we're at a point where I feel like our country is so divided that we can't even agree on just a simple issue like what is a woman. I'm 30 years old. But did you know when I was 20 years old, literally 10 years ago, I can go anywhere in the world, anywhere in the United States, and ask, hey, what do you think a woman is? And they'll give you the right answer. They give you the logical answer. A woman is someone who has an XY chromosome and who is able to give birth to a child. If unable to give birth because she lacks birthing parts, she has an XY chromosome and she has a Y pelvis, and a male has a small pelvis. One pelvis is to squeeze out the baby, the other one's so to give the other man masculinity, strength, and agility. That's the logical answer. Tell that to this generation. They'll fit. They'll act like a 3-year-old when the mom says no candy and then tear up the store. And then they'll grab their signs, march down Wall Street saying we are victims, we need this, we need our rights, when they have the exact same rights as everybody else. The issue isn't that they don't have rights. The issue is they're weird. Employers don't like weird people. They like well-adjusted, behaved, normal people. Makes sense? Yeah. Well, that's about it for this video. Today was just a random discussion of what I think is wrong with our country. And I think I'm going to leave off with this. What I believe is wrong with our country overall is we do not have the love of Jesus in our hearts. And we are not experiencing God's love and showing God's love to other people. And as a result, this is the state of our country. That's about it for this video, guys. My name is Russell, and you're watching The Bible Man. You guys have a blessed night.